Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of our preview series, the show in which we look ahead to Arsenal's next and final fixture of the season. We've made it to the end. It may not end how we wanted it to, but it is going to end. And so I'm joined, as always, by a few of our guests from the Discord server and our members to talk about what could be happening in tomorrow's game. Very happy to be joined by Chris. How are we doing, Chris? We all right? We good? We well?
Doing very well, mate. How are you? All right?
Yeah, not bad. Not too shabby at all. We're also joined by, for the benefit of this show, CT, to avoid any Chris confusion. You're right, mate? You good?
Yeah, sun's out in North London.
Yeah, the sun is out down here in Kent as well. It's been a good day, and I've spent it working because that's how life works for me. But yes, fantastic day in terms of weather. And we're also joined by Ojo. How you doing, Ojo? You well? You good?
I'm good, Tom. How are you? How are you guys?
Very good indeed. A little relieved that I don't have to suffer through the game tomorrow. It's the first game I'm missing this season. There's a little part of me that is, I think, relieved that I'm just going to check my phone, I think, at 4:00 and see what's happened and then go mad or just get on with the rest of my day knowing that's like I thought what was going to happen. Anyway, let's talk about it. Chris, how likely is a miracle tomorrow in your mind?
Super unlikely. Super unlikely. Norwich are dreadful. Norwich are one of the worst teams I've ever seen play the game. So I'm not banking on them to do anything or pull up. Even if they get a draw, even if Tottenham gets a draw, the goal difference gives it to them. So I can't see Tottenham losing.
No, I'm pretty much on the same wavelength. CT, are you in agreement with that?
I think it's about a 5% chance. I think
That's generous.
I've seen worse teams than Norwich, but it's very difficult to see them, making one final comeback at the end of the season. Just not very unlikely, I think.
And Ojo, not expecting anything, or are you going to throw in for the lottery?
No, I think there is a chance.
Oh, it's a delay. Sorry. There's going to be a delay between us today, Ojo, so you're just going to have to bear with me on that. But I can hear you now. Keep going.
Yeah. No, I still feel there is a chance because as bad as Norwich are, we do know that this Spurs team also lost the Conference League. So are Norwich as bad as the Conference League? We will never know.
I love the theory. I had never thought about it that way at all, but I love trying to contextualize it and make it, wish it into existence. So fingers crossed that does come to fruition. It's interesting because obviously from Arsenal's perspective, Chris, they're coming up against a team in Everton who, have survived. All of their tweets, if you've seen on social media, have been about basically going out on the lash this weekend to celebrate. Richarlison had a beer in his hand, after the game in the dressing room. Do you think we're going to be coming up against an Everton side that have probably just thrown caution to the wind at this point?
Yeah, I think the boys are on the beach. The boys are on the beach. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what lineup they bring out because I think a lot of their players will be rested. I think a few youngsters might be
arrested for.
Yeah, exactly. They'll just be
the night out, I suppose. Yeah,
I think they would be wasted more than rested. I think they were out celebrating that they survived. So most of them would be wasted than rested. So
yeah, I think it's a good time for them to test their squad depth. Bring in a couple of players who haven't played that much this season, but they're still dangerous. They're still motivated team. Most of them will be. Most of them.
Richarlison loves a goal against Arsenal, so you never know. You might see that. I reckon he could play half cut anyway. So he might even be better playing like that. So I hope that he's not been on the beers before the game. Chris, how do you think that Everton are going to approach this? Are you similar to Chris there saying about they're going to be on the beach, or do you think they'll be taking it fairly seriously?
So I've got input from my Everton correspondent, a guy called Mike Colley, who's a long-time Blue. It lives in a family in Liverpool where half of them are red, half of them are blue, and really, really suffers. And he's just sent me a WhatsApp message saying the only players we want next year out of this lot are Pickford, right, and Richarlison. All the rest of them can go. Wow. So I think this lot worries me, right? Because if you're sat there and you're playing for your life, I always worry about players that have got nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not wildly confident that it's going to be the walk in the park that we think it might be. I still think we'll make it, and you'll see when we get there, right? But I think they're dangerous, they're hurt, and some of them are playing for their living, like Iwobi, right? No one's going to buy Iwobi from them for anywhere near the money they paid from us. What's 35 million?
35 million pounds. Unbelievable.
And basically, that's just getting, I think that's us getting them back for Franny Jeffers when they sold him to us all those years ago and he was rubbish. I just think, fair trade. So I
slightly different figures, CT.
Yeah.
Not if you put inflation in.
Sure.
What was he, 11 million or something? And he was 35, and it was however many hundreds of years ago. So not that far out. But not that I'm an accountant, obviously. So no, I'm slightly worried, but I think we'll win. But I don't think it's going to be the easiest of afternoons.
Danny's our relevant accountant. 8.5 million is how much he costs. There you go.
Danny. That's close.
No, it's pretty darn close. Pretty close, to be fair. Ojo, I mean, are you expecting, as you said a second ago, for them to be wasted rather than rested for this game?
Yes, Tom. I don't think Everton will show up tomorrow. It's at our stadium, right? The game. It's a home game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think Everton now that they know that they're safe, because they were playing like crap when they know they were going to get relegated. Now that they're safe, I don't expect them to do much better. No, they're just going to come in and maybe they'll try for 5-10 minutes, and then even if they lose, there is no consequence for them. So I don't expect them to do much. Then again, we also have our team, because the point is, will Arsenal show up? Because we expected them to show up before Newcastle, and we all know how that went. So
yeah, not great.
Wait and see.
Not great at all. Chris, I mean, when you think about this Arsenal team and the motivation, do you expect them to respond from the Newcastle game? Do you sense some irony in that when, it's out of our hands now, this is when we show up rather than when it was in our hands?
Yeah, look, I want them to. Like, I wanted them to against Newcastle and that, but I don't know if they can. I think that, like, watching them last week, I think they're gone. I think they're so tired. The players just don't look like they're there. I think they really want to put in a good effort, but they just don't have the legs. Odegaard's played every minute. Saka looks dead. Martinelli, Emile Smith-Rowe still looks like he isn't fit. And Keddy is putting in a shift, but he's only played half the season. I just don't think the legs are there anymore. And people are like whinging, saying, it's only one game a week. The game's changed. This high press game we're playing is super hard on these players. Saka had the World Cup. He had all last season and this season. The boys are busted. The boys are tired, and I'm not expecting anything good from them. I really am. I think it must really be a draw.
Really? Do you agree, CT? I mean, are you expecting kind of a bit of an indifferent performance, or do you think they're going to be very motivated for this?
I think it's last game of the season, home crowd. I mean, the whole atmosphere in Emirates this year has been so good, right? I think they'll pick themselves up one last time and drag themselves over the line. I think so, right? Yeah. And I think because I think when you hear that, when you hear that roar, right, and and the North Bank starts jumping up and down and stuff like that. I mean, it's got to give you that extra lift.
Do you think the fans will be like that? Because they're pretty, done in at the moment.
I really don't agree. Right, absolutely. Yeah. So for me, I think I've been thinking about this, right? I think in the Twitter sphere or the media sphere or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the toxic sphere.
Well, yeah. You get those echo chambers of doom and you get the echo chambers of success. And there's no real reality. Whereas, right, you turn up in the ground, right? We've all spent over £1,000 a year to go there, right? Even the cheapest seats are £1,000. Right, of course you're committed. You're watching 20 games this season. That's £50 a game on average. It's like, come on, if you don't turn up and support them, and if you don't, so I think it's a different type of fan. You only get 60,000 in there. Actually, we entered this season, right, thinking we'd be happy with 6th, right? I remember my mates laughing at me and saying we'd get 4th or 5th. Right. Better luck, and I know because I'm really not very good at predictions. But we are we've exceeded expectation. So why the hell wouldn't we go and turn up and cheer and shout and go home with a sore throat one last time? I think that's our role as people inside the ground is to do that. So I absolutely think everybody will be there going. We've seen some great football. We've had some ups, we've had some downs. We've got a young side. It's passion, right? And it's like, and you spent this money, and if you don't have that passion, why the hell? Just give the ticket to someone else who's got patch. Sorry,
Yeah. No, you echo a lot of my thoughts about, match going fans. I remember I used to, be videoing the walkouts on 80 minutes and seeing why are you bothering? And I get the idea that traffic's bad and getting back in the tubes. I know it can be bad. I've gone to games where it's bad and it's tricky to get back, but that's part of your commitment. You deal with the fact that it's going to take a while to get home, and that's why you go. So that never really cuts it, with me. I get it if we're 5-0 down on a cold night on a Tuesday against, Spurs or something. But, when it's like, I think I saw it in the North London derby where it was 2-2 at home, and fans were leaving on the 80th minute just because to try and beat the crowds. I can't get it.
I just really don't understand it, right? I probably once in the last 10 years I've not left. I've left early, right? For some reason, brother. I always stay. I always stay to the end, no matter how bad it is, and no matter how good it is, and then you dissect the game with the mates around you, and then you calm down and you go home. And to me, that's part and parcel of the whole process. So no, I can't understand why you would leave early. I can't understand why you spend all that money. These top games cost £1 a minute to watch. Why would you spend that money and then just go and get on a bus? It makes no sense.
Yeah, it is a bit strange, especially when you spent half your fortunes trying to buy a sandwich, behind the scenes as well. Ojo, Arsenal approaching this, Arteta, do you think he's going to be in a position where he feels, I want to say compelled to win, because he should always feel compelled to win, but responding to Newcastle with a really big performance, there is an element of irony, of course, to it, but he's going to obviously want us to be in that position. And he spoke very optimistically in the press conference about, he talks a lot about Champions League, no matter how unlikely it is. He seemed very, very optimistic, which just seems so out of touch from the reality of the situation.
No, that's because I think even he understands how Spurs operate. No? So there's always a chance, even at the last moment of the last game. But if Arteta is the manager he portrays himself to be, and we believe that he is, then he has to go for this game. He cannot, even though it could just end up being a meaningless match with very little change to the result, but he has to go and win each game, because that is the mentality you have to put into the team. So when the next season starts, you can always say, we played the end of last season, we finished it strong. And traditionally, I think Arsenal tend to win the last games of the season. Right? It's been a while since I remember us not performing well for the last game, or at least the last home game of the season. And going by all the circumstances surrounding this game, I expect us to go and do well, or at least Arteta to be pumped up for the game. Whether our players turn up, that is a completely different conversation.
Let's go and have a look at our lineups. Let's go to Chris first. Talk us through your team, mate.
Yeah, it's my team. So I've taken Eddie out from the normal teams and I'll put Laka back in. I think the weight of the occasion, that's what I'm hoping for. Last game at home, it'll be his last game for Arsenal. I'm hoping that inspires a little bit. He's got fresh legs, so that's why I put him in. And the other one is Leno. I brought Leno in, same reason. And to be honest, I'm a little bit not worried, but concerned about Ramsdale's form. XG has him -4, and Leno's +4. I know he adds a lot more with his kicking game, but I'm bringing in Leno for this last game to play in front of the Arsenal fans. He's been a good steward for the club. And that's kind of it. The other players are on the team. The only one who could have been an argument is Emile Smith-Rowe for Martinelli. But I think Emile Smith-Rowe's been a little bit dreadful. I think I don't know, it might be COVID. He might be nursing an injury. I don't know what's going on with him. But he's been terrible. Terrible. But, yeah, they're the only decisions I had to make, because the rest of the team, what else can you do? There's no players.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to know what Squeezy Cakes 17 in the chat says. Leno must start. Ramsdale disobeyed instructions. If I missed something, do you guys know what this means? I don't remember Ramsdale disobeying instructions. Maybe you can let us know in the chat box. Educate me. I'm really curious now what you're talking about. CT, talk us through your team. Couple of changes from what Chris has selected there.
Yeah, and I had exactly the same conversations that he had. We've just gone completely the other way around. I think I think it would be nice to see Leno come out and say goodbye properly, but I don't think Arteta's got that that sort of sentimentality in him. Otherwise, I think I'd have picked him. And I think you stick with Eddie. I think actually, out of everything that's done with everything that's gone on with him over the last few games, he really has run his socks off. He's not tired. I think Lacquer is slow, and I think if we're going to turn this team, and if they've really been on the lash, then we need to turn them. So I think we need Eddie's speed. So that was my argument. I put in Smith Rowe rather than Martinelli, primarily because I think it's a Premier League game, and I think it's good for ESR to come on, and I think it will be good for his confidence. I'm really looking forward to next year when we get 5 subs. Because I think that'll give us an awful lot more ability to change these things and actually be a little bit more flexible. And the only other option was around Gabriel and whether he's going to be fit or not, or whether he's fit enough. And then I'd have just moved Xhaka back and put in Sambi in the middle. But other than that, I mean, I think, we've got a pretty settled side. And I know, we've had some dodgy results. But I think, we don't have anything else. We've got some great players coming through, but I don't think they're ready yet. So I think that's where we are.
Fair enough. And Ojo, talk us through this selection, please, mate.
And Tom, once again, for the last time this season, for sure this is not the team I picked.
Well, what was the team you picked, Ojo?
Okay, I had Ramsdale in goal. I had Nuno Tavares and Cedric on the wings. And since Gabriel's on a doubt, I thought you and I could play centre backs. Because what difference is it going to make? But since you're going to a wedding and that is not possible, so we figured, okay, Gabriel and Holding.
That's why it's not possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So Martinelli, Odegaard, Saka, yes, Xhaka after his what is that Highlander speech the other day. So he has to play and make himself known that he's going to give 100%. And up top, instead of Nketiah, I actually wanted Vivian Miedema to play. But since you're a supporter of the patriarchy, you said no, that can't happen. So yes, AD Nketiah is up top.
But look, I respect the admiration for Miedema. I really do. And there's no doubt in my mind that she definitely would have done a job for us this season in the men's team, probably a lot better than what Lacazette was doing for most of it, in fairness. And I'm thrilled that she's staying for another season. But I'm sorry, these are the rules, Ojo, and I have to abide by them. The same reason as to why, I don't know why you'd put myself in you in particular. I can't believe why you'd put yourself in the team. But,
I know I'm actually an attacker, but I could do a job.
Okay, well, you got to see it to believe it, is what they say. So maybe one day. I've gone slightly different, not really in terms of selection. Xhaka's there because I'm not 100% sure about Gabriel, basically, about whether or not Gabriel is fit. If Gabriel is fit, then of course, then Xhaka goes into that team, into the midfield in place of Lokonga. I'll just switch that around so people could see and not think I'm being a madman if they join in late. But that was the reason why I did switch those two around. And there is pictures of Gabriel and White both in training, but we don't know about their level of fitness and about whether they will be available. I've gone for this kind of setup because I'm so sick and tired of seeing Cedric and Tavares playing the same team and leaving our centre-backs so overly exposed. So by putting them into that back three, I just feel as though it kind of forces Cedric to be a little bit more Azpilicueta-like in the Chelsea team when he plays this role, a little bit more defensive, a little bit more disciplined, and allows Tavares to be doing what he does best, which is going forward. So that's why I've gone with
Cedric is anything close to Azpilicueta, we will not be in this situation.
I know. It's purely descriptive. It's nothing to do with them being comparable in terms of quality, but just in terms of that role, that's why I've gone with that team. And I think the rest of the team pretty much picks itself. I didn't go with Smith Rowe because I agree with Chris. I think he's been really quite poor of late. I just haven't been inspired by his performances. And someone actually sent me a message, I think it was on Twitter, asking a very good question actually about kind of what or who of the youngsters, what I expect to kind of see their place in the team maybe lost by the signings that come in the summer. And I think it would be Smith Rowe of all of them at the moment, because Martinelli, I think, has shown more energy and more, forward thrust to the side, and Smith Rowe has been really off the pace. So I feel like he might be one of those. And I actually think that he might be brought more central next season, and they might try and develop him in that more central role because of Martinelli developing so well on the left-hand side. But that's the teams. So it means we now finally finish off the show with our predictions. Chat box, get your predictions in there as well. We start with the Arsenal score. Chris, we'll go to you.
I think it's going to be 1-1, but I do have another prediction. Yeah, I do have another prediction. I predict at 1-1 at the end of the game, Granit Xhaka will wave to the crowd. And then tomorrow on Twitter, people will be like, is this Granit Xhaka's last game for Arsenal? And it will blow up. And I pray that it is. If there's anything I hope for, it's Granit Xhaka gone in the summer. We've never made the Champions League with him in the team. It's his time. He's had a great season. But it's time to go. It's time to go. Please, God, it's time to go.
Oh, man, get off the fence about Granit Xhaka. Jeez, come on.
Oh, he's the worst. Him and Pepe can hang out.
CT?
So I think we will win 2-0. And I would like to see Saka score and Xhaka. I slightly have so my opinion of Xhaka this season has waxed and waned. There was an area 3 or 4 months ago when I really just didn't never want to see him on the spreadsheet, on the team sheet. However, right, I really liked his passion the other day. Right, you can say, "Oh, he shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that." I actually, you know what? Right, if we, proper guts and blood and thunder and guts and proper Arsenal DNA. So I do think we should keep him next year.
Oh, proper Arsenal DNA. Oh, don't do it, CT. That's just
okay. So who else is standing up, right? And who else is really leading this team? And who else is saying anything? Because the rest of the
problem. That's the problem. He's the one who's been leading it.
Contributes.
So what are you going to do? Throw him away and bring in another vacuum? Bring in another Oba, who was a great player but a terrible leader. And so for me, don't get rid of him. Right, find someone better than him, make him compete for his position, and then at the end of next season, sell him to Italy.
Fair enough. It's a good argument. Ojo, prediction?
I'm going to go with Chris, the one with the cool facial hair, not the clean shave one. Say one Granit Xhaka hand wave to Armand on the floor. That's my prediction.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with Arsenal 16-0 because it closes the gap. I won't tell you the scorers because I'll be there forever. But it closes the goal difference gap if we do that. There was a great idea for an article about how Martinelli can both, how Bukayo Saka can both overtake Son in the goal scoring charts and close the goal difference gap by scoring 16 goals. So, that'd be great. So Everton aren't going to turn up. They're going to be absolutely wasted, as Ojo put earlier, and they're just going to concede 16 goals. And we're going to close that gap, and it's going to be happy days. And then, of course, Spurs will score a winner in the last minute, and it won't matter a jot. No, but speaking of Spurs predictions, Chris, what's the Norwich-Tottenham score going to be?
3-0, 4-0, 4-0 Tottenham. I think they'll just steamroll them. Harry Kane just got announced fit by Conte. They'll put 4 against him.
Fair enough. CT?
So I was going to go for something pretty similar, but I think Norwich are going to beat them by a goal.
Oh.
I love that optimism.
The optimist.
1-0 to the Canaries, right? Because they never score any other way, right? And I reckon Pukki, somebody put it in the chat. Pukki in the first minute on a 1-0.
Come on.
I'm not sure it's going to be the first minute, but I just so love to see him score and shut them out. And you never know which Spurs is going to turn up. So might as well have
an early goal would make it so exciting. An early goal to Norwich would blow everything up.
And the thing is, they don't have to sit and hold. They could, Spurs will attack and Norwich would be like, we'll throw caution to the wind and keep attacking like Newcastle.
Yeah.
Who knows? Ojo.
Who's at home in that game? Is it Spurs or
Norwich at home.
Oh, then that my prediction is 1 Chris Mustache to all the trophies in the Spurs trophy cabinet this year. Forget
Oh,
this
dear
decade.
me.
Or you can even go back the past couple of decades. Like, take your pick.
I'm going to go for a Pookie hat trick. It's going to be free. It's going to be 5-1, same as the Newcastle 10-man situation from a couple of years ago. And who else is going to get? Max Aarons is going to get a couple, and then join Arsenal in the summer as Tomiyasu's back up. That's what's going to happen. If we're going for wild predictions, 16-0 and 5-1 Norwich. That's what's going to happen. That's what we're going to enjoy tomorrow. Well, you are going to enjoy because I won't be watching it, but you guys would enjoy it. Let's go into the chat box. Bobby says 2-0 to the Arsenal. Arsenal Ryan says 2-1 to the Arsenal. ML Reaction is going 2-0. Mark says 2-1. Mohammed says 2-1. Rancid going for a 1-0 holding with the winner. That's going to be a nervy one. Alpha's going for a 3-2 win. Harvey says 1-1. Ollie says Arsenal 1, Everton 7. Wow. Jeez. Not positive at all. The Horster says 2-1 Gooners. Steve Stone says, sorry, everybody, but I can't see us winning 1-1. Mark says that Spurs are going to win 1-0 with a 94th minute Kane winner. Rancy says 1-0 Norwich with Pookie getting the goal. Amira says 2-1 to the Arsenal, 1-0 to Norwich. Harry Kane own goal in the 94th minute. That would be glorious. That would be fantastic to see. And Jared says 2-0 Arsenal win. King going for a 4-1 Spurs win. Arsenal 2-1 Everton. Can't see Norwich win even with Spurs' red card. They are so bad.
Yeah, 100%.
They just are bad. Like, it's just the worst possible
bad
team that we could have had to rely upon. Even if it was like Watford, I might have had more faith. But Norwich, I've just got no faith in them at all.
And you know what? They'll be up again next year. They'll come back up.
Oh, they are the
this bad
yo-yo
again.
team. Yeah, they are. That is who they are. They're not good enough for the Premier League, but they're too good for the Championship.
But you have to keep the faith, Tom. Spurs, remember Moura and
fingers crossed. Fingers
some
crossed.
other names are in the European countries that Spurs lost to this.
I mean, who knows, Ojo? Anything could happen, but we know what's going to happen. So there you go. Thank you so much.
It would be incredibly funny if you don't watch the game.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't watch the game and it's somehow, that we actually get it, I'm still going to record a mental video of me running up and down, outside our wedding venue. That's definitely going to happen. So that's another incentive Arsenal to win, seeing me go absolutely mental at someone else's wedding. Thank you for tuning in, people. Really appreciate your time. Do drop a like on the video and show my panelists some love in the chat box. Chris, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me. I stream on Twitch. That's my full-time job. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's number one lover. I stream League of Legends.
Oh.
Yeah, it's horrible. The most toxic community of anything in the world. Worse than the Arsenal community. And that's my job. That's horrible.
And you're in both, right? You're in League of Legends and the Arsenal community.
Yeah, it's horrible. My life is just a mess. But, yeah, so number one lover at twitch.com.
Brilliant stuff. Love that indeed. CT, are you streaming League of Legends anytime soon? You could team up with Chris.
What's League of Legends?
I'm too old for that. You don't want to know that.
No, you just find me on the Discord server talking rubbish, sending silly pictures and giving dad jokes, basically.
Lovely stuff. There you go. Ojo, tell people I can find you, fella.
Yeah. So you can find me at whatever is there after the @ symbol on screen. And also, please feel free to join the Discord server. We know we are at the end of the season, but do come in now that Tom has decided to abandon the future of the nation and become a football writer full time. It would help us if you join the Discord server and help the channel up.
Hey, look, if you want to keep up to date with transfer news, that transfer channel does not sleep.
Yeah.
It will keep you up to date. There's always someone throwing the links in there as soon as they see it. It's
the Discord's amazing. The Discord's amazing. Everyone should get in there. You can see such great things. You can see Ojo saying that Kuleveski is going to be a flop. I know you wrote that, Ojo. That is mental. I know you wrote that.
Watch him flop. Watch him flop.
Just got 8 assists.
Right now, he's
assists and
running
half a No way. I remember
was top scorer.
I definitely did
Watch it
not
flop.
play down that Kulusevski move at all. I definitely thought he was going to be brilliant. Yeah, I thought that was going to fail
You're
as
gonna
well, to
flop.
be fair. So I was an Ojo side there, that one.
No way.
Oh, gutting. Absolutely gutting. Anyway, thank you, chat box. Thank you, panelists. Really appreciate it. Chris, and Ojo. Make sure you give them a follow on the Discord as well, and you'll be able to find them back on the show, I'm sure, very, very soon. We'll keep our fingers crossed, very crossed as they possibly can be. And I'll join you tomorrow morning for the next 8 a.m. show, but there won't be another show after that. Just cross every limb you have, and maybe a miracle will happen. We'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.